had an idea yesterday and it has just not let go of me ever since. I want to knit a pair of Wicked socks because I want to. I am an adult with adult money and adult free time as a dink. I can do this and I want to do this. I'm going to do this. I ordered the yarn. I ordered yarn from a website selling the Järbo collaboration between Järbo Lindgren and her illustrator Wikland. So these are all colours that are available in that collaboration line. I have two of the greens. There is the Mattis Skogen green and the Bullobyn green. But I'll see which one. I'll see which one I like more when it comes. But I'm so excited for this. I have to pace myself. I have to do some work today, but I don't want to. I wanted to knit, but I can't knit just yet because I haven't gotten the white yarn yet. I have some of the black left from another pair of socks that I knit recently, my Palestine socks, but honestly, cannot wait. I resent the fact that it's Friday, so I won't be getting my yarn until next week. I resent it. I'm so excited for this. Okay, I'm not loving this. Hi. So I wanted to give you a bit of context for the first clip because a few days ago, two days ago, I had an amazing idea. I made a pattern on Stitch Fiddle to match the original poster for the Wicked musical because Wicked is my favourite musical. I saw it the first time in New York 2015 and I loved it. So I had been to New York a few times before, and is this the same? This is not the same dye lot, is it? It says it is, it doesn't look like it. Sidetracked. Okay, I saw Wicked the first time 2015. I had been to New York a few times before. I had really just fallen in love with New York as a concept, and I wanted to go basically once a year. I saved all of my money and I went there to see musicals and just be there and love the city. It was the first city where I felt really at home, where I felt like being one of the millions was the right place for me to be. This is a place where I'm welcome and anyone that I meet could be a pivotal person in my life and I could be that person for someone else. It was really important for me to have that place for those few years, and the musicals were definitely a part of it. The first musical I think I saw was The Lion King with a friend who was living in Boston at the time, and then it just snowballed from there. Les Mis, amazing, brings me to tears every time. Wicked also brings me to tears every time. I've seen it once or twice in New York and a handful of times in the West End, and it's just a spectacular musical. I love it. The themes, the music, the costumes, the scenes, the storytelling, it's beautiful. The friendships, the relationships. So Wicked is my favourite musical and I will stand by that. Whatever happens with Wicked Part 2, that is set to release in a month, less than a month, November 19th in Sweden at least. Today is October 25th. I ordered the same sort of yarn as my watermelon socks are made of. because I figured out the tension and the stitch number for this. But honestly now, looking at how they wore, I wore these yesterday, not doing anything extreme, but they have pilled quite a lot. You can see the sole is very pilled. Where the boot hits, there is a huge pile there, or pill. The colours are beautiful, and I should have waited and not ordered more, but I did. So this is the yarn that I ordered. It's the same line. So it's from Järbo. It's Astrid Lindgren and Wikland, the illustrator for Astrid Lindgren's books. They have chosen different colours from the most loved illustrations and made yarn out of those. So this is the pig toy that Lotta has. I think it's called Bamsen Pink. Yes, and this is the Mattisskogen grön, so the green from the forest in Ronja Rövardotter, so Ronja the robber's daughter. And this is Papa's paraply, Dad's umbrella, and this is Lisa's lamb, so Lisa's lamb. So these are the colours that I was thinking about using for my Wicked socks. This I might use as a contrast, but I don't know if I actually will. But this, if you look at the poster, it is black and white, so Glinda wearing the white, and Elphaba wearing the black and being green. So I was debating if I would use the pink for Glinda's face and hand, but I think I'll just stick to these three colours together. I might use this for the cuff. And I mean, I have the yarn now. I wanted to make the pattern. I'm very, very, very excited to make the pattern, to create the pattern. But I think that these would be special socks. These are socks that I make for the process, not for the finished results. So if I wanted to remake these to wear, I would have to use a sturdier yarn. Although I don't know how these fare, if this is the initial pill and it then calms down, or if this is just the beginning of the end for the socks. But I have two different ideas of how to create or how to construct them. So one of the socks I wanted to try to make in the round with my either DPNs or my circular needles with my magic loop. I am starting to get the hang of magic loop, I think. And I think that I am also starting to enjoy magic loop more. But I want to make one in the round and then one flat in just intarsia and then seam it at the back. So I will get started with that. I'm not going to let this pilling ruin my excitement, because the excitement is real. I'm very happy to have had this idea and I want to make it come true. Pals, I'm doing it. I'm finally starting. Do I have other whips that I technically should be working on? Yes. Me spinning this around itself is just an estimation of how long I need my long tail to be. So I wrapped it the half of the number of stitches that I had planned, and this is then an approximation of how much yarn I will need for the long tail cast on. So I am finally ready. I have had this on my mind for ages. I said that I wouldn't cast this on before I had actually finished my Cascade tank top. But the Cascade tank top has a super long hem that I am finishing off with, I don't even know what the technique is called in English. I'm basically sewing in the loose stitches to the back of the fabric, so there isn't really a seam. Is that called an Italian bind off? No, it's not. What is it called? Where is my... I don't know if it's sort of like a Kitchener stitch bind off. Anyway, that takes absolute ages to finish, and I powered through 1/3 on the first evening, and then I sort of had a crash out screaming that this is so boring, and then I finished the second third yesterday, and again it's just incredibly boring. And now I don't have anything to knit on the subway because I'm not going to bring my Cascade tank top and needle, like actual sewing needle, to the subway, but I will happily knit my Wicked socks. And of course she's wearing green. That is a coincidence, I just wear green all the time. How many stitches do I have now? Perfect number. Didn't even count, just went for it. Okay, so since I have an uneven number of stitches, I am going to do a 1x1 rib, or do I do a 2x1 rib? Yeah, let's do a 2x1 rib, and see where that takes me. So as you can see, no yarn chicken loss for me for my long tail cast on. Is it twisted? No, it isn't. I've so far had quite good luck with my cast on my first rounds not being twisted, but I've had a few snafus when it comes to larger projects. So I think I've had a sweater that was twisted. That was unfortunate. Okay, so I'll be setting up and knitting a few centimeters. I don't need too much length in the actual cuff before I start knitting on the colorwork. So for this start, I will do just black and white, and then for this version I will just duplicate stitch, so I will not be using any green to begin with. I recently read the Wicked book for the first time, and I knew that it wasn't going to be an exact copy. It wouldn't be a screenplay of the musical, but I was surprised at how different the book was from the musical, and how the themes are quite different. How in the musical they have injected a love triangle that wasn't there in the book, and how Elphaba's gender identity and gender expression and how she's perceived by the world is so different than just being a beautiful person who happens to be green. But in the book, the theme is quite different. It is not just about colour, but it's about gender and sexuality and expression and ableism, and the themes are very much more complex than what the musical itself would have you believe. And I understand that you can't have too complex of a story in a musical because you need it to appeal to a broader audience. But reading the book I found was very interesting. So if you want to read the book, just know that it's not going to be like a fanfic of the musical. It's going to be its own book, and it's not going to be what you expect, probably. It's a good book. I enjoyed reading it, but it's not what you would expect based off the musical. So I'm now going to move on to the colour work portion. And this is always quite tricky because I'm going to have quite long floats, so I want to catch them, but not too often because I don't want my tension to be messed up. Should I actually just knit these inside out? Yeah, I think so. To set myself up for success more. So let's go. Let's do the colour work. It's the 5th of November. Remember the 5th of November. The gunfire. The gunpowder treason and plot. I know no reason. No, wait. I know no reason why the gunpowder treason should ever be forgot. Isn't that from V for Vendetta? Or is that an actual thing? It's not just from a movie, but since I don't live in that country, I just thought it was a pop culture reference. Anyway, my progress so far, I'm knitting it inside out because I don't want to accidentally pull my float too tight. So I'm catching my float ever so often, and this is the beginning. So this is where Elphaba's hat goes up, and this is the beginning of Glinda's face. So I think this could be something. I'm very excited. And it's 2 weeks until the premiere. I think I can manage. I will at least be finished with one, and I will hopefully be able to block it. I haven't tried it on yet. This is quite a different gauge from, or not a different gauge, but it's a different technique from the last pair of socks that I knit in this yarn. So I will continue with this. I think I'm about 20 rows into the pattern. 20 of 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. So quite a lot more to go, but I will see. So I'm going to finish at least the 60 rows before I maybe split for the heel, because that is the main part of the actual colour work or the picture. And then we will see. We'll see what happens. I'm super stoked about these already. And the white portion, I mean, you can see where I've caught my floats. I've tried not catching them at the same point too often because I don't want the black to peek through too much. But we'll see. I mean, if it ends up being very obvious, I would have to rethink for the second pair, but I didn't know that I wanted to learn like what is it? A jacquard, catching floats with a jacquard technique, because that would be less visible, right? But the black is looking very black. No white interruption, at least. So let's see what happens. Short update. It's now Monday the 17th and we are going to see the Wicked movie in 3 days' time. I've nearly finished the first sock. This is just missing the green duplicate stitching for Elphaba's face, and I feel like I can't really do it justice with a two-dimensional screen, because honestly I think this looks amazing. I'm so proud of this. So I knit the colorway all the way around, Glinda whispering to Elphaba. I then knit the heel in a just normal stockinette. I've started knitting a slipped stitch heel for the last few socks that I've knitted, and I wanted to go back to just a plain stockinette stitch heel to see how this yarn behaves with just a stockinette, and the foot with a rounded toe decrease. I was umming and ahhing about making a second sock that looks just like this, because would I want to walk around with two posters? It's just one of them, so would I want both of them to look identical? I don't think so. So I have decided to make the second sock just a completely different design with the same basic building blocks. So the same length of the cuff, it's going to be the same stockinette but without the standard colour work for the shaft. I'm going to do duplicate stitching for this, I think. I'm pretty sure that I'll do duplicate stitching for this. The same construction for the heel flap and gusset, the same decreases for the foot, and the same toe construction. So that is what I'll be doing for the next few days. And I incorporated the pink because this is going to have some of the green on it, and I wanted the Glinda pink to represent. So I'm very pleased with how these are looking so far. This has been a very fun project to work on. It has knit up surprisingly quickly because I am a very fast knitter. I am knitting on a 3mm needle, which is larger than my normal 2.5mm needle. This is a slightly thicker yarn as well, so instead of a 72 stitch round, this is a 63 stitch round. And I have been working, this is very potato chippy, isn't that what you say when you just want to knit a bit more and a bit more and a bit more? Because this wasn't looking like anything for the longest time, and now it looks like the movie poster. It looks like the musical poster, and I'm excited about the duplicate stitching, getting that on, and then going to the premiere. I have one single gripe, a singular gripe with myself, and that is the fact that my floats are too tight. I carried my floats quite far. This is, as you can see, I mean, the white goes on for ages until it meets some of the black, and then it goes back to, it's just a very, very long float. And while I can get this over my heel, it is not a very flattering exercise when I do that. So it does go over my heel. It's not ideal. I could have figured this out in a different way, and I did have another thought for the construction of knitting this flat with intarsia instead of the stranded colour work and seaming it up the back. And I would have done that construction if I were to make a second identical sock, but then I decided that I didn't want to have two identical socks. So this construction is not ideal for the way that I knit, because I am not the best with colourwork tension. Of course, I'm not used to it yet. So that is the singular gripe that I have. It's a very small gripe because it looks rad. I did some knitting. I finished the heel and knit the gusset, and then I was knitting on just the black portion, and my thought about this is to duplicate stitch some sort of a text. I don't know if I want it to say for good or I have been changed for good, because that is one of my favourite lines from the Wicked musical soundtrack. This I'm hoping to just embroider Wicked onto if I have the space for it. If I don't, I might embroider it down this foot instead, where I have a lot more space. But I realised that this was just turning out to be a black sock with a pink cuff and heel. And my coworker said, "Oh, is it going to have a pink toe as well?" And I initially said, "No, I don't think so." But then I thought, why not try and make it a bit more magical? I can't decide if I actually managed to make it more that starburst effect that I was going for or not, but I like how I've made the color change, so a bit like this. It looks almost drippy. If I squint, it might be a starburst, because I would like that fancy Glinda touch to it. But I am nearly at the point where I decrease for the toe, I think. I haven't tried these on because I'm at work and I'm not going to whip out my feet, because that is psychopathic behaviour. Yeah, it looks like I'm just about on the same row actually, where I started the decreases. Yep. Good thing I stopped here. So that is the second sock so far. My sister-in-law and I are going to see it tomorrow. It does premiere today in Sweden. I know that they had the big press release premiere thing already, but I don't know if that's to the public in other countries, but today in Sweden. But neither of us could go today, so we're going to go tomorrow instead. And I am very sure that I will have at least the first wearable version of these socks ready by then, because now I am decreasing for the toe. That is going to take half an hour at most when I get home, so I'll do that on the subway home. This duplicate stitching alphabet's face, I haven't decided if I want to use the lighter green or the darker green, because the lighter green is a bit too neon-y, but at the same time the darker green is a bit too muted, and I really want this sock to look cohesive but as similar to the inspiration picture as possible. So if it's the neon-y pink, if it's the neon-y green, that might be technically the closest version, but it's going to stand out too much. So I think I will have to do some trial, basically, to see which version I like better and get back to you on that. And then also decide what I'm going to do for the duplicate stitch for this sock. if I get around to that, because I don't do a lot of duplicate stitching. I don't know how long it takes to get a duplicate stitch text, because this is going to be over, I don't know, 60 odd stitches long and letters, so it's going to be a lot of stitches to duplicate stitch, but I will figure it out and you will find out in probably the next clip.
Pinette that's then folded over and sewn on, but you actually pick it up from the other side that you normally would. So typically you would hide the...
Is this a really silly thing to do? Yes. But it's not as silly as you think. I realise that I'm knitting Wicked socks. I've been talking about Wicked all the time. I'm wearing green because it's my favourite colour, and that might or might not have to do something... God, that's tight. That might or might not have anything to do with the fact that I love Wicked. I've never been a pink person. Never liked pink. So me dyeing my hair pink was a curveball even for myself. Initially I thought that I wanted green, but then I was like, oh no, green is too extreme, I'll go for pink, as if that's less extreme. So I got the only hair dye that I'm not allergic to, or one of the few that I'm not allergic to, and that is actually accessible to me. And it's super pink. It's called Virgin Pink. I have been using it diluted to not get the neon-y version, the colour, but honestly, potato, tomato. At this point, I'll just go for the neon because it's going to wash out. I'm not the most diligent person about not washing my hair with hot water. You know, all that stuff that you're not supposed to do to take care of your colour. This basically doesn't look like dyed hair anymore because it's just muddled. And then when I didn't want pink hair anymore, I wanted green hair, so I bought the same colour but in green, which is AF Emerald. No, Emerald Fortune. And I haven't used this as much, so my plan now is to dye half of my hair pink and half of my hair green, because my partner isn't home and he can't talk me out of it, and I'm feeling like I'm channeling Jenna Marbles a lot in this way of making decisions about my hair. But the plan is to use both of the colours now. If I like it, I'll keep doing it. If I don't like it, I'll just dye everything green and I'll let it wash out. This is not very much hair that is... I mean, I don't have a lot of hair that is still bleached. I'm not going to re-bleach it. The pink hair was a phase, and now I'm going to enter my green and pink hair phase. I am excited. So excited. I need one more glove though, hang on. But we only had it in a size small, which I'm happy to say fits me all right. Do I go for... No, these are too small. Do I go for green on the left or the right side? Dollop. Excellent choices were made. Is this proper technique? Heck no. Am I a hairdresser? No. Did I get my hair dyed initially at my hairdresser friend's? Yes, she did a great job. My pink hair looked really, really good. And then I dyed it at home a few times, and that wasn't at all as successful as when she did it, to no one's surprise at all. Have I divided my hair in half equally? Nope. Is this the right method to do things? Nope. Am I potentially messing up my bathroom? Nope. Do I take full accountability for said potential mess up? Yes. Okay. I should have brought a clip for this. I do not have a clip for this. Yeah, good enough. And I don't think that I would necessarily call this a cry for help. I don't need help. It is, however, definitely in part a reaction to the fact that I just spent an hour or so trying to duplicate stitch the Wicked logo onto my sock. I did get Glinda's, I got Elphaba's face dollop. I got her face situated. I could just feel myself. What was that sound? Oh, it was just a water droplet. I thought I just glooped hair dye all over the bathroom. Pink hair dye at that in our green bathroom. What a shame that would be. It's fine. It would be fine. I got Elphaba's face where it's supposed to be, and I could feel myself just getting giddy when I saw how it was sort of emerging. It looked great. Because I was a bit worried about the face not really doing enough for the grand picture, so I thought that it might just end up looking like a green blob in a black blob. But it was really nice. I really liked it. So now I'm working on the rest of the Wicked logo. And I will see if I get it finished by tomorrow. It's not looking too promising, to be perfectly honest with you. Usually we do not stand for plastic waste. But this is not waste of plastic. This is using plastic. Okay. And my partner is going to wonder what the hell I'm doing once he gets home, which should be soonish. But this is going to cook for probably an hour. I think I have another hour. I do not trust myself, however, on the sofa, on our bright yellow sofa with this. So I'll be sitting on the floor, which is easily cleanable, and I will make sure that I don't have any paint, hair dye splashes on me now. See you in an hour.
More to come on this. This is probably my favorite room in the whole house.
It's not done, but you can see how the water, and it also walks out to the pool. Yeah. Like, I have no idea what we're doing with the rooms down here yet. It's
And there we have them, my Wicked socks. I'm so happy with them. They turned out really good. I'm very pleased with how I managed to pull them off. The only thing that I have is, of course, the fit, the floats at the very top and the very bottom of the stranded colourwork section on the poster sock is a bit too tight, so I have to squeeze in, and then most of the tube is just fine. And then at the very bottom before the heel is also quite tight, so I don't know what I did. I think I was just so excited to start and to be almost finished that I pulled it a bit too tight, but it has loosened up a bit with wearing them. I have taken them on and off a few times now, and I know that from my watermelon socks they loosened up over time as well with wear and washing, with that really losing their shape. So I have very high hopes about these socks being even better after a few washes and wears as well. I did the duplicate stitching. That took absolute ages. I finished the D of Wicked an hour or so before I had to go to the cinema yesterday, and my sister-in-law was very impressed with my socks and with my hair. The yarn for the sock that I was a bit unsure about, or very uncertain about, because they had pilled so very much on the watermelon socks, I'm now very happy with, because the fact that they pill also means that they sort of felt together in a good way for this sort of project. So the colourwork is only going to become better with that blooming and almost felting together a bit. It's going to be denser, and the stitches are going to even out a bit because my duplicate stitching is not the neatest. I did my best and I did get the hang of it quite well at the end, but the very beginning, that was a struggle before I figured out which direction to go and how to do the most relaxed stitches and how to make sure that the yarn actually was on the right side of the original yarn. That took me a while, but after that I think it went quite smoothly. So I'm giving myself a 10 out of 10, although the fit isn't ideal with the stranded colourwork being too tight, but it's a great sock recipe, and it was a great chart. It's a great motif, and I'm really pleased with my execution, and I'm really pleased with the end result. So I have warm feet. I'm very happy with that. It's snowing outside. I'm even happier about that. And the Wicked movie was beautiful. I did absolutely cry a bit, and during the As Long As You're Mine montage, I could feel the people next to me practically sliding off their seats because they were probably not expecting such a spicy mood. And there was so much giggling with the chemistry between all of the characters, and I think that Gregory Maguire would be very proud at how queer this movie ended up being. So I can't wait to see the musical live again at some point or another, but that's going to take a while, so until then I will be blasting the original soundtrack to the musical. The movie is good, but there is no place like home. There's no place like the original Broadway cast. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you in my next video, and take care of yourself. Hope you have warm feet. Bye.